If you knew your words were quietly shaping your destiny, would you speak differently? Your words are spells, and your thoughts, they're already infected. Every single day, the language you use is either opening doors or quietly holding you back from the life you dream about. But before you blame yourself, hear this: it's not your fault. You've been unknowingly programmed by the language of society, trapped within invisible boundaries built by words you've repeated since childhood. But what if there was a way to reprogram it all? In the next few minutes, you're going to learn how to tap into the vibrational power of language, not just to communicate, but to transform. You'll discover how to channel words with clear intention, how to use language as a tool to manifest the reality you've always wanted. Because here's the truth: you're not a side character in your own life. You are the main character, and the script, that's yours to rewrite. Let's start with a question. Have you ever felt like your life was running on autopilot? Like the goals you chase, the beliefs you hold, even the words that come out of your mouth were installed before you ever had a choice? If that rings true, here's why. Your words are running the show. The reality you feel stuck in may not be a lack of effort. It might be the language you've been taught to use. And this is the secret most people never learn. The words you speak are not harmless. They are quietly training your brain, moment by moment, to shape what you believe you deserve, what you think is possible, and what you allow into your life. And this has been happening since the moment you learned to talk. This isn't just a random theory. For centuries, powerful individuals and systems have known. Language doesn't just describe reality, it creates it. Words aren't simply tools for communication, they're code. They are programming language for the human mind. With just a few small shifts in vocabulary, you can either unlock doors to growth, love, success, or unknowingly seal yourself in a mental cage. And the truth is, the everyday language you've absorbed, it's been designed to keep you small, compliant, limited. But this video isn't just about understanding that, it's about changing it. You're not here to just watch, you're here to shift. What you're about to learn is different from anything you've ever heard before. This is not just motivational fluff. This is a doorway. We're going to reveal how to crack the hidden code that's kept so many stuck in invisible prisons and, more importantly, how to speak your way out. There's science behind this, too. Every word you say, every thought you repeat, sends electrical signals in your brain. These signals don't just sit there, they rewire how you perceive reality and what you believe is possible. But here's the catch. Most people never realize this is happening right now. You're part of a rare few who are about to break the cycle. And by the time you reach the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge and tools to begin rewriting your entire reality, one word at a time. So the only question left is, are you ready to speak differently and finally take control? Let's explore the first word that might be sabotaging your growth without you even realizing it. You've just discovered that your words shape your world. Now, it's time to look even deeper, because some of the words you use every day may carry meanings that quietly keep you stuck. This isn't just a video, it's your first real step into a new life, one where language no longer controls you, but empowers you. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that every belief you've held, every goal you've chased, and every decision you've made was influenced by unseen forces, phrases, and expressions you never even questioned. It's like you've been under a spell, cast from the moment you first learned how to speak. Here's the part that might shake you. Language itself is a system of control. Beneath the surface, it's full of hidden meaning structures built, not to free you, but to shape your thoughts, your limits, and even your identity. Every word you speak, every phrase you repeat, reinforces this invisible script. And once you start to notice it, you'll see it everywhere. Think about the word spelling. When you spell a word, you're arranging letters to form meaning. But in that very act, you're also casting a spell. This isn't just poetic, it's a powerful reminder. Words aren't neutral. Words create, words shape, words define. Each time you speak, you give form to an idea, and you also invite that idea into your life, for better or worse. Even casual words hold surprising power. Take the word contract. At first glance, it seems harmless in agreement. But break it down. Carn and tract. Carn, meaning to deceive. Tract, meaning a path. A contract may seem to connect to parties, but in reality, it often locks them in, binding them to rules, terms, and limitations that can be hard to escape. It looks like protection, but often it's just well-disguised control. Now think about the word human. Split it, and you get who and man. Who is a sound associated with light or divine presence in some ancient teachings. Man represents the material self. Hidden within the word human is a reminder of your dual nature, energy and physical form, spirit and structure. Yet society teaches you to focus only on the physical, as if you are nothing more than a body. But what if that's only half the story? Even words like awaken carry double meanings. The word awake also refers to a vigil held after someone has passed, a gathering to honor death. In many ways, true awakening is a kind of death. It's the end of blindly following the script written for you. It's the death of old beliefs, of limitation, of conformity. To awaken is to leave behind the version of yourself that didn't question the words shaping your reality. And consider this: every morning you rise again. But listen to that word, morning. It sounds exactly like mourning, the act of grieving. Could it be that every day, as you wake up, you subconsciously step back into the same routines, the same limitations, and mourn the parts of yourself you've forgotten or given up? Morning becomes more than just the start of a new day. It becomes a quiet echo of loss, a ritual of stepping back into the familiar, even when it no longer serves you. But what if mornings didn't have to mean morning? What if, in the very words you use each day, there was a path to liberate, to be revealed? Let's look at more everyday words you've been speaking without realizing what they've truly meant. Previously, we uncovered how even the simplest words like morning, human, and awaken carry deeper, often hidden meanings that quietly influence how you think, feel, and move through life. But the deeper you look, the more you begin to realize this isn't just about language. It's about a system that has long understood the spellbinding power of words. Take the word summons, for example. In the legal system, a summons is an official order requiring your presence in court. But step back and look at it from another angle. Summons is also a magical term. In the realm of spellcasting, to summon is to call forth a spirit, to demand its appearance and obedience. So when you're summoned to court, it's not just a polite invitation. It's a command, one that assumes authority over your very presence, as though the system itself wields magical control over your movements. Now lift your eyes to something even larger, the word universe. Break it down and you get uni, meaning one, and verse, meaning word. The universe, then, becomes one word, one vibration, one sound that set everything in motion. That simple interpretation flips your entire understanding of reality. What if the universe really is a word spoken, vibrated, resonating outward, and everything you see, feel, and experience flows from that single, creative utterance? And what about emotion? Hidden within it is a simple truth. Emotion energy in motion. Your emotions aren't static. They move, they flow, and more importantly, they respond to the words you speak. Language doesn't just describe how you feel, it shapes it. Every sentence you say alters your energy, raising it, lowering it, redirecting it. That's why being mindful with your words is one of the most powerful forms of energy management you'll ever master. Now, let's consider belief. When you break it apart, it becomes life. Your beliefs are not just ideas in your mind, they are what you become. What you hold as true shapes your experience of life. That's why belief systems are so heavily guarded and controlled by society. If someone can influence your beliefs, they don't just affect what you think, they steer the entire course of your reality, and they do it through broadcast. Think of the term, to broadcast, to throw something wide. Whether it's a TV commercial, a headline, or a social media post, every broadcast is an idea being cast over a wide audience. But it's more than just information, it's a form of modern spellcasting, shaping mass perception, desires, and fears. Then comes authority. At its root, it contains the word author. The people in positions of authority are not just enforcing rules. They are writing the story the rest of the world follows. They're scripting the narrative of what is allowed, what is real, what is acceptable. And most of the time, people follow along without ever questioning who's holding the pen. Even the word government holds hidden weight. Split it apart. Govern and meant to govern the mind. The government's role goes beyond creating laws. It shapes collective thought, guiding what people believe, what they see as truth, and what they accept as the framework of their lives. And what about your job, your occupation? At first glance, it just sounds like a career or position, but think more deeply. To occupy is to fill, to take up space. What is your job filling in your life? Is it just your time? Or is it also your mind, your identity, your freedom? Let's take a closer look at that, because the next word in your vocabulary might be shaping your purpose more than you realize. You've just seen how words like occupation and mortgage aren't just labels, they're spells, silently shaping how you live, think, and give away your energy. But if language has the power to confine you, then it also holds the power to set you free. Your job, your occupation, isn't merely a means of earning a living. Think about the word itself. To occupy, it doesn't just refer to time spent doing tasks. It implies being filled, overtaken. So when your mind is occupied, what exactly is it being filled with? Often, it's not vision or purpose, but noise, distractions, endless cycles of routine that keep you focused on small tasks instead of bigger questions, like who you really are or what you're meant to create. And then comes the word mortgage. At first glance, it seems like a normal adult responsibility, a financial agreement. But break it down and you'll see something hauntingly symbolic. Mort means death, and gage means pledge. Together, mortgage becomes a death pledge, a long-term contract that tethers your future to a system that promises ownership while quietly draining your time, energy, and freedom. You sign it, thinking you're gaining control. In reality, it's another layer of the speller promise that locks you in. With decades of payment traded for the illusion of security, each of these words is more than vocabulary. They're coded commands, They guide your thinking, mold your behavior, and build invisible walls around what you believe is possible. And most people live their entire lives inside these linguistic prisons without ever noticing the bars. But now you know. And here's the truth they don't want you to realize. You have the power to break free from these spells. Right now, in this very moment, you can begin rewriting the language that has shaped your life. You can choose words that empower instead of restrict, that open doors instead of closing them, that reflect freedom rather than fear. Why don't more people do this? Why isn't this common knowledge? Because most of the world is asleep, hypnotized by repetition, conditioned to accept meanings without question, unaware that they're participating in a script they didn't write. But not you. You're waking up. So now ask yourself, what words have you been living by? Are they words that uplift you, or ones that quietly hold you down? Are you reinforcing your own potential or unknowingly echoing someone else's limits? It's time to take back control. Language is not just a tool for communication, it's a tool for creation. And when you use it with intention, everything begins to shift. Because here's what most people forget. Every time you speak, you're casting a spell. Your words become blueprints, shaping the contours of your life. Whether you're whispering doubt or declaring strength, you're influencing your reality, even in your daily routines, brushing your teeth, sipping coffee, heading to work. There's magic at play. Mundane as they may seem, these acts are carried by language, and language carries power. You are a creator, even in silence, especially in speech. And as we dig deeper, we'll uncover even more hidden truths in the very words you've used your whole life. Truths that, once revealed, could change everything. Ready to see what's really behind the language you speak? Earlier, we saw how your words are more than tools for expression. They're spells shaping your reality. But what if that power extended beyond speech, into the very structure of language and the world around you? Let's start with something you use every day, but rarely think about: grammar. On the surface, it seems harmless, just rules for writing and speaking. But trace it back to its roots, and you'll uncover something startling. The word grammar comes from the Latin grimo, which itself is linked to grimoire, book of spells. Yes, grammar and magic once shared the same meaning. This isn't just poetic coincidence. The way we structure words and sentences doesn't just reflect meaning, it can create it. Language becomes an engine of manifestation, where every word you craft carries weight, energy, even consequences. And it's not just language. Hidden influences surround you, woven quietly into daily life. Take alcohol, for example. Most people see it as a beverage, but the word originates from the Arabic alcohol, which originally referred to a fine powdered cosmetic made from antimony. Over time, it evolved into a word symbolizing spirit. In many ancient cultures, alcohol was believed to separate the soul from the body, making the drinker more vulnerable to spiritual energies, some helpful, others not. So next time you pour a drink, ask yourself, what kind of spirit are you inviting in? Then consider something as essential as water. Science tells us it's just H2O, but there's more beneath the surface. Water, in its purest form, is believed to hold memory, to carry with it vibrations from everything it touches. That means when you drink it, you may be taking in not just hydration, but energetic imprints of where that water has been. Your body is mostly made of water, so imagine how powerful it becomes when you drink with intention, aligning each sip with clarity, healing, or gratitude. And what about fasting? Most think of it as a health trend, or religious act. But fasting goes far deeper than physical discipline. When you fast, your body begins to shed old cells and regenerate itself. You're not just cleansing the body, you're clearing the mind. Like hitting a mental reset button, fasting allows you to silence the noise and reconnect with a higher self. It's one of the oldest practices known to humanity for realignment, transformation, and clarity. Even music isn't just entertainment, it's hypnosis. Every lyric, every rhythm acts as programming. The songs you hum unconsciously influence your beliefs, emotions, even your worldview. Music becomes the soundtrack of your subconscious. Ever wonder why some tunes linger long after you've stopped listening? Because they're designed to. Each note carries not just melody, but message, steering your mood, reinforcing ideas, and binding you to emotional cycles. We, as humans, are not just flesh and bone. We are electromagnetic beings. Our thoughts and emotions radiate energy, just like a signal tower. And society knows how to tap into that energy. Just look at legal language. When you're charged in court, kept in a cell, or labeled a unit in the system, it's more than bureaucracy. It's a reflection of how we're seen, not as people, but as batteries. Our energy is managed, directed, and harvested to keep larger systems running. Now ask yourself, are you freely creating your life? Or are you plugged into a structure that runs on your energy without you even realizing it? Let's peel back another layer of this hidden system and discover how even deeper forms of language, rituals, symbols, and sounds are shaping your identity. Ready to keep going? Previously, we uncovered how your daily routines, emotions, and even your job title can act like energetic programs, shaping the way you live and think. Now, let's return to where it all begins. Your words. You may wonder, if words are so powerful, why doesn't saying "I'm a millionaire" instantly fill your bank account? The truth is, language works in more subtle, yet profoundly influential ways. It isn't magic in the way movies portray, it's deeper than that. Scientific research shows that repeating certain phrases actually rewires your brain through neuroplasticity. Each time you speak a thought out loud, you're carving a new mental pathway. Over time, those phrases, whether empowering or destructive, shape your beliefs, your emotions, and ultimately, your actions. Think about the words you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. I'll never make it. I'm not good enough. Nothing ever works out for me. These aren't just statements. They are spells, powerful incantations that cement limitation into your life. But here's the good news. You can flip the script. Just as negative phrases create restriction, positive self-talk creates expansion. Saying things like "I am growing," "I am capable," or "abundance is coming to me" sends different signals to your brain, strengthening neural pathways that support confidence, well-being, and forward movement. This goes beyond psychology. It touches on something ancient and sacred. There's a reason why the phrase "I create what I speak" has echoed through generations. It's not just motivational fluff, it's a spiritual truth embedded in ancient wisdom. Even the word abracadabra is believed to have originated from an Aramaic phrase meaning "I create as I speak." Our ancestors knew something we're just now rediscovering. Words manifest reality. Most people, however, speak without awareness. All day, they unconsciously cast spells of doubt, fear, scarcity, and self-sabotage. Not because they're weak, but because they've never been taught the power they hold. But now, you know. So the question becomes, Will you keep repeating old scripts that limit you? Or will you step into the role of creator and start speaking with purpose? Because magic, quite literally, is on the tip of your tongue. And when you begin to use it with clear intention, you'll be amazed at how your world starts to shift, sometimes slowly, sometimes dramatically, but always in the direction of what you speak. This is where the science of linguistic determinism comes in. It's the idea that language doesn't just help us communicate, it actually shapes how we perceive reality. People who speak different languages don't just talk differently, they often think differently. They may understand time, emotion, or even color in ways unique to the structure of their language. In essence, your words become the lens through which you see the world, and some of those words carry hidden weight. Take mortgage, for instance. It traces back to Latin roots, meaning death pledge. Doesn't that change the way you feel about it? What once sounded like a normal financial term now feels like a lifelong burden. Or consider common sayings like money doesn't grow on trees. Phrases like that may seem harmless, but they reinforce scarcity, teaching your brain to expect lack, not abundance. So what other everyday phrases might be quietly shaping your beliefs and choices without your awareness? Let's take a closer look. Earlier, we explored how everyday phrases like money doesn't grow on trees can quietly reinforce scarcity and shape your mindset. Now, let's go deeper into how your language directly affects your physical and emotional reality. The first step toward breaking free from the limits of language is simple but powerful. Awareness. Start tuning in. Pay attention to the words and phrases you use every single day. Ask yourself, are these words lifting me up or silently holding me down? For example, if you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford this," pause and reframe. Try saying, "How could I make this possible?" Or instead of saying, "This is too hard," ask, "What can I learn from this?" These subtle shifts aren't just about optimism. They're about opening doors in your mind that used to be closed. Words don't just carry definitions, they carry energy. In fact, scientific studies suggest that words can physically influence our environment down to the molecular level. Researchers have discovered that positive words can actually change the structure of water molecules, forming beautiful, symmetrical patterns. Negative words, on the other hand, create chaotic, distorted shapes. Since our bodies are made up of nearly 70% water, doesn't it make sense that the words we use might be affecting us on a deep, biological level? So the next time you speak, remember, you're not just communicating, you're shaping, you're sending vibrations into the world that influence your mood, your thinking, even your health. And when you choose words aligned with growth, positivity, and possibility, you begin crafting a reality that reflects your highest potential. Are you ready to break through the unseen walls built by unconscious language? The transformation begins. With intention, when you speak with purpose, your world starts to respond. Your words aren't just sounds, they're frequencies. They're living vibrations that interact with everything around you, subtly reshaping the fabric of reality. And this isn't just abstract theory. It's grounded in science. In the field of cymatics, scientists have shown that sound waves like those produced by words can physically rearrange particles. When different frequencies are played through materials like sand or water, they form complex, organized patterns. The higher the harmony, the more beautiful and intricate the shapes. The lower or harsher the frequency, the more chaotic and broken the result. Now imagine if sound can move sand into perfect geometry. What kind of effect do your words, your personal vibrations have on your body, your surroundings, and the people in your life. One of the most compelling demonstrations of this truth came from Dr. Masaru Emoto in his no-famous experiments. He exposed water to both positive and negative words, then froze the water to examine the crystal structures under a microscope. When words like love and gratitude were used, the resulting crystals were stunning, symmetrical, glowing, breathtaking. But when words like hate or fear were introduced, the water formed jagged, disordered, and darkened shapes. And here's where it hits home. Your body is made of that same water. So what are your words doing to you? Let's explore further, because if your words can change your biology, what else might they be shaping? We've just explored how your words don't simply vanish into the air, they resonate within your body, especially the 60% of you made of water. If language can change the shape of water molecules, imagine how your internal environment, your cells, your health, your emotions responds to the things you say and hear every day. But it's not just about water. Scientific studies on plants have revealed something equally compelling. Language affects living things. When plants are exposed to kind words or uplifting music, they flourish. Their leaves grow stronger, greener, more vibrant. In contrast, those subjected to harsh words or complete silence often grow more slowly or even wilt. What does this mean for you? It means the language you use, especially the energy behind it, has a real, measurable effect on your environment. Not only does it shape your inner world, but it also influences the outer world around you, touching people, pets, and even plants. So, what would happen if you started choosing words with more care, more intention even, in how you speak to yourself? This is where it starts to get deeply personal. Your words carry frequencies. High-frequency words like love, gratitude, peace, and joy can uplift your emotions, boost your energy levels, and even contribute to your physical well-being. Meanwhile, low-frequency words like hate, failure, and fear can do the opposite. They generate stress, drain your energy, and disturb your sense of balance. And here's something you already know, even if you've never thought of it this way, you feel the difference. When someone says "I love you," those words don't just float past you, they settle inside. Your chest softens, your body responds. On the other hand, when someone spits out "I hate you," it doesn't just sting your ears, it tightens your stomach, quickens your pulse. Words are not passive. They ripple through your system, physically and emotionally. So how can you start using this power with purpose? Begin by simply listening. Notice the words you use most often in your everyday life. Are they affirming, positive, forward-moving, or are they subtly pulling you down? Do you speak about yourself with encouragement or limitation? Challenge yourself. When you catch a negative phrase slipping out like "I can't," gently redirect it. "I'm learning." Or instead of saying "this is too hard," try "this is stretching me." These may seem like small adjustments, but they add up. Every one of them lifts your energy, reshapes your thinking, and opens you to new possibilities. Now, you've probably heard of affirmations. Maybe you've even tried them, repeating phrases in the mirror or writing them down. But maybe you didn't feel a real change, and you wondered, do these things even work? Here's the deeper truth. Affirmations only truly begin to shift your reality when your conscious words align with your subconscious beliefs. Just saying something you don't believe won't get you very far. If there's a silent voice inside saying, "That's not true," then that voice holds the reins. So, what do you do next? How can you bridge the gap between what you say and what you believe deep down. Let's explore that in the next part. You've seen how powerful affirmations can be when they resonate as truth. But what happens when they don't feel real? That's where the real work begins. Reshaping your inner language so it genuinely reflects a future you can believe in. 2. Make affirmations effective. They must feel authentic, grounded, and emotionally possible. This may mean adjusting your language or taking smaller steps that your subconscious can actually accept. Instead of saying, "I am wildly successful," when it feels far from your truth, you might start with, "I am learning to succeed," or "I am becoming more confident every day." These small shifts build a bridge from where you are to where you want to go. So, are you ready to step into the role of the creator of your own life? Start today by carefully choosing words that align with the reality you want to build. The more your language resonates with positive, high-frequency vibrations like gratitude, hope, love, and resilience, the more harmony and balance you invite into your daily experience. You're not just speaking, you're actively shaping your destiny, one word at a time. But have you ever wondered why some people seem to reach their goals effortlessly while others keep struggling, despite working just as hard? There's a secret that often goes unnoticed. The words running silently in the background of your mind. Your subconscious mind works like a factory, producing thousands of thoughts, beliefs, and emotional reactions every day, many of which never even reach your conscious awareness. This inner language factory operates around the clock, shaping how you think about yourself, your abilities, and your potential. It silently but powerfully directs your life. In fact, researchers estimate that the average human mind generates up to 70,000 thoughts per day. And here's the kicker. Most of those thoughts are automatic, recycled from previous days, shaped by childhood influences, social conditioning, and the language patterns you've absorbed without question. Over time, they create your internal script, the running commentary you may not even realize is guiding your decisions. Consider how subtle wording changes can rewire perception. In a famous psychological study, participants were shown a video of a car accident. One group was asked, "Did you see the broken headlight?" And another was asked, "Did you see a broken headlight?" That tiny change, the versus A was enough to make people believe they saw a headlight that never existed. Just a single word altered memory. Now imagine how much more powerful the effect is when it's not just one word but thousands of phrases, ads, headlines, and inner dialogues flooding your mind every single day. If one article or one conversation can shift your memory, what happens when you hear the same limiting beliefs repeatedly from media, friends, family, or worse, from yourself? Your subconscious doesn't argue, it absorbs, it records, and then it builds your reality with the materials you've given it. So, how do you take back control from this invisible influence? That's what we'll uncover in the next part. Our subconscious mind absorbs the stories we feed it, like a mirror reflecting our own words back to us as truth. Think about it. If you constantly say, "I'm terrible at math," your brain doesn't just hear it, it starts to believe it. That belief then builds invisible walls that rise every time you face a math problem. Psychologists call this phenomenon self-verification, the tendency of your mind to act in ways that confirm your existing beliefs about yourself. Every sentence you say becomes a kind of internal rule, either creating possibilities or quietly closing doors. So how do you change that? You begin with your words. Replace phrases like "I always mess up" with "I'm learning every day." This small but powerful shift sends a new signal to your mind. You're no longer stuck, you're growing. Suddenly, your inner dialogue becomes a tool for opening up new paths rather than repeating old patterns. The roots of these patterns often go deep. Research shows that many of our self-beliefs are formed in childhood. The words we hear early in life become scripts in our subconscious. Children who are told they're capable, smart, or resilient often grow up believing it. But those who hear negativity or limitation may carry those beliefs into adulthood, without even realizing where they came from. Here's the good news: you can rewrite the script. One of the most effective tools for doing this is visualization. Your subconscious can't always tell the difference between something that's vividly imagined and something real. That's why elite athletes, performers, and entrepreneurs use visualization. It helps them practice success before it even happens. Imagine this: you spend 5 minutes a day seeing yourself succeed, feeling the joy, the confidence, the calm. Now combine that vision with empowering words like, "I am ready," or "I believe in myself." What you're doing is building mental pathways. The more you walk them, the easier they become to follow. Eventually, your mind starts treating them as reality. So how do you put this into action? Start by tuning in to your self-talk. Are the words you use positive, encouraging, and aligned with your goals? Or do they sound like doubts and limits? Whenever you catch a limiting phrase like, "I can't," try swapping it for something like, "I'm figuring it out." If your mind says, "This is impossible," respond with, "I'll find a way." These aren't just affirmations, they're instructions. And when you speak them consistently, your subconscious listens and adjusts. Over time, these new patterns reshape how you think, how you act, and what you believe is possible. You're not just thinking positively, you're building the inner framework for real, lasting change. And now that you've learned how to shift your words and visualize your success, let's explore one final truth: how to activate this transformation at a deeper, energetic level. Ready to see how your voice connects with vibration itself? Let's keep going. You've just learned how your words can reprogram your beliefs and build a future that reflects your deepest dreams. But are you truly ready to take that next step, to rewire the language factory inside your mind and start designing your life with intentional words? It all begins with something simple: small shifts in your daily vocabulary. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't handle this," replace it with, "I'm becoming stronger." These subtle changes aren't just feel-good phrases. Over time, they shape new mental pathways once built on strength, resilience, and belief in yourself. Try this exercise for just one day. Every time a negative phrase pops up, pause and flip it into a positive one. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," try, "Someone has done this before, so can I." At first, it may feel unfamiliar, even awkward. But with each repetition, you're literally retraining your brain to respond with hope instead of defeat, with courage instead of fear. Imagine building a life where every word you speak adds a brushstroke to the masterpiece that is your reality. Growth, strength, positivity. These aren't just concepts. They become the very structure of your thoughts, your habits, your actions. Language doesn't simply echo your inner world, it molds it. By deliberately choosing words that lift you up, you're actively shaping a reality that aligns with your highest goals. You're not just talking anymore, you're creating this journey. Through the matrix of language isn't about avoiding words out of fear. It's about reclaiming your power, choosing words that expand your potential and energize your spirit. So begin small. Start paying closer attention to the words you speak, especially the ones you say to yourself. Replace doubt with possibility. Replace hesitation with momentum. Are you ready to speak with the power of someone who knows they can build the life they want? In the next section, we'll go even deeper, exploring ancient techniques that use language not only to influence your mind, but to align with the very fabric of the universe. Quantum physics is already revealing that consciousness affects reality. Could it be that your words are more powerful than you ever imagined? Let's explore how each word you speak may be shaping your quantum world. You've just seen how small changes in language can rewire your mind. But what if those changes could also shift the very fabric of reality around you? That's the promise hinted at by quantum physics. Your words aren't just sounds there. Vibrations influencing how the quantum field behaves. And this power isn't just a theory. Real scientific studies support the idea that language has a measurable impact on your body and well-being. For instance, research published in Psychosomatic Medicine revealed something remarkable. People who regularly use positive, empowering language tend to experience lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems, and even lower rates of depression. It's almost as if the body recognizes these uplifting words and responds in kind, not just emotionally, but physically at a quantum level. Imagine your words as light switches in the quantum field. Each phrase flips a switch, shifting your reality toward one of many potential outcomes. Even a subtle change in expression like replacing I have to with I get to can send a completely different signal to the universe. It's more than a tone shift. It's a deliberate alignment with a higher, more expansive version of reality. Quantum theory teaches us that there isn't just one future, but many potential ones existing side by side. And every word you speak helps select which version becomes your lived experience. Want to try it? Here's a challenge. For one day, notice each time you say something limiting. I can't. This will never work. I always fail. Then, immediately flip the phrase. Instead, say, I'm learning how, or I'm getting closer. These tiny linguistic choices are like nudging your reality's steering wheel toward new, unexplored directions. Science supports this idea too. Words influence not just perception, but behavior. Which means this isn't just optimism, it's construction. You're laying the mental and energetic framework for the future you want to live in. Consider a key principle in quantum physics: the wave function. It describes a state where all possibilities exist until observed. When an observer steps in, the wave collapses into one specific reality. Think of your affirmations as these observations. Every time you say, I am successful, rather than I will be successful someday, you're collapsing the wave into the reality you desire now. You're not wishing, you're choosing. But if language truly holds this much power, why aren't we all using it to reshape our lives? Why aren't more people speaking with intention every day? Let's explore the hidden barriers that keep most people stuck in patterns of unconscious speech, how to break free from them. The idea that your words shape reality isn't just personal, it's happening all around you, on a massive scale, and much of it without your awareness. That's because our daily experience is constantly influenced by subtle linguistic manipulation through mass media. From the moment you scroll through your feed or turn on the TV, you're being spoken to in ways designed not only to inform, but to program your subconscious. The matrix of words is real, and with every sentence, your perception of life is being gently steered. Think about this. Every headline, every phrase in a new segment or article is chosen with care, not just to report, but to shape how you feel, how you think, and what you believe. Media outlets use a tactic known as framing, which alters your emotional response simply by the choice of words. For example, calling a group gathering a riot evokes fear or chaos, while labeling it a demonstration suggests peaceful protest. The facts may be the same, but the frame shifts everything. That's how language becomes a lens. Studies show that these framing techniques act as powerful mental cues, guiding the audience's interpretation of events without them even realizing it. And this isn't accidental, it's deliberate. The goal is often to polarize, influence behavior, or push specific narratives. The same event, told with different words, can cause support or outrage, agreement or division. In this way, language becomes a silent sculptor of public perception. But framing isn't the only force at work. There's also the spiral of silence. This theory suggests that when the media constantly amplifies certain viewpoints, people with opposing thoughts begin to feel isolated. Fear of rejection or ridicule causes them to stay quiet, leading to an echo chamber. Over time, only one narrative seems to dominate, not because it's the truth, but because the dissenting voices have been conditioned into silence. This illusion of consensus is one of the media's most powerful tricks. The more often you hear something repeated, the more likely you are to believe it even if it isn't accurate. Repetition, emotional framing, and selective language create a world where the public assumes they're seeing reality, when in fact, it's being constructed for them. So, what can you do in the face of all this? Awareness is your greatest defense. Start asking questions. Notice the words being used in headlines. Pay attention to the emotional tone. Is it meant to stir fear, outrage, agreement? Why that particular word choice? What's not being said? When you begin to ask why certain language is used, you start to lift the spell. You begin to take back control of your own perception. That's the first step in reclaiming your mind from manipulation. But the journey doesn't stop there. In the next section, we'll uncover ancient linguistic techniques and hidden truths passed down through mystery schools and sacred traditions. Tools you can use to consciously create a reality that aligns with your highest purpose. Ready to unlock the next level? Just as we uncovered how media and language shape collective perception, it's time to look even deeper into how every word you absorb continues molding your personal reality. Every headline you scan, every story you listen to, every phrase you repeat, they aren't just passing thoughts. They are spells, tiny incantations, influencing the way you think, feel, and act. This is the global linguistic spell, and now that you're aware of it, you might feel a little overwhelmed by its reach, but don't let that discourage you. Knowledge, after all, is power. And simply by becoming aware, you've already begun to protect yourself. You've taken the first steps toward awakening, and there's still more to uncover. Now, imagine for a moment that this very video you're watching disappears right after. It ends its insights, silenced by censorship, buried because of the powerful truths it reveals. What would remain with you? Likely, just one essential truth: that words are far more than sounds. They are energy, intention, and influence tools capable of shaping your entire reality. Let's dig into how that happens on a physical level. Every single word you encounter, whether spoken, read, or thought, triggers a response in your brain. This isn't just philosophy, it's neuroscience. Your brain reshapes itself constantly through a process called neuroplasticity. Each word, each phrase reinforces certain pathways. Over time, repeated thoughts and language create the wiring for how you react emotionally, how you interpret life, and how you experience the world. And it's not limited to positive affirmations. The science of language therapy shows us that specific word choices can influence how the brain processes emotion. Some words soothe and uplift. Others activate fear, sadness, or stress. Gradually, this pattern becomes automatic. Your brain begins to react based on the language you've absorbed, creating cycles of negativity or positivity depending entirely on the words you allow into your mind. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. For years, it was believed that only children could truly reshape their language patterns or belief systems with ease. But neuroplasticity has shattered that myth. Adults, too, retain the ability to rewire their minds through focused work, consciously choosing new words, replacing limiting self-talk, and using language that encourages growth. You can quite literally rewrite the mental script you've been following, no matter your age. And now, let's bring quantum physics back into the picture. As strange as it sounds, observation has been shown to affect physical reality. In landmark experiments, particles changed behavior based on whether they were being observed. It's as though awareness itself collapses possibility into reality. Now imagine this. Every word you speak is a form of observation. Each time you describe yourself or your future in positive terms, you're not just being hopeful. You're collapsing a specific potential into form. You're choosing a version of reality, one that matches your intention and energy. You're saying to the universe, "This is the reality I claim." But how exactly do we harness that power in daily life so it becomes not just theory, but transformation? In the next section, we'll walk through simple but powerful practices that align language with intention, tools to help you speak your way into a higher version of your life. Ready to explore that next level? Let's continue. Previously, we explored how every word you speak can collapse potential into reality, like an observer in a quantum experiment. Now, let's take that awareness further into how collective language frames shape not just your personal world, but society as a whole. Beyond the words you speak to yourself, there are larger patterns at work, shared language structures that guide how entire groups think and feel. These are called linguistic frames. You've seen them before, often without realizing it. Consider how media uses words like riot instead of protest, or reform instead of regulation. Though subtle, these choices trigger entirely different emotional responses. One word evokes fear, while the other might suggest hope or progress. These aren't just differences in opinion. They're carefully constructed frames, designed to steer collective understanding in specific directions. They affect how we interpret events, shape group behavior, and influence what society accepts as normal. It's like wearing a pair of glasses you didn't even know you had on until now. The first step in breaking free from these frames is simply to notice them. Once you begin to recognize how language is used to control perception, you gain the power to choose differently. This isn't about paranoia. It's about reclaiming your voice. Because the words you use aren't neutral, they carry energy. Words like abundance, growth, and joy naturally lift your emotional and mental state. In contrast, words rooted in fear, scarcity, or doubt pull you down and limit your perspective. So as you become more intentional with your language, you're doing more than just thinking positively. You're aligning your mind, your emotions, and even your body with a vision of life that reflects who you truly are. Each word becomes a conscious choice of frequency that builds the world around you, piece by piece. This is your invitation to shift from passive communication into active creation, to move beyond default language into a space where every sentence you speak supports the future you desire. Think of it this way: every word is a thread in the fabric of your reality. What kind of world are you weaving now that you see the power language holds? Pause and reflect. What words have shaped your life so far? Are there phrases you've repeated that have quietly kept you small? What if you chose new ones, words that opened doors, sparked courage, or reminded you of your strength? Try this for just one day. Notice the language you use. Pay attention to your self-talk, to how you speak about your circumstances. And when you catch a limiting phrase, gently replace it with one that expands your vision. Who knows what could unfold next? In the following section, we'll uncover ancient linguistic techniques and rituals used for centuries to amplify the transformative power of speech. Ready to go even deeper? Let's keep going.